Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Now, we've already heard a lot about minimum wage in this House, so I thought I would try a more nuanced approach. My friends on my right here, they're locked in. They believe a minimum wage should never increase, and nor should any taxes in any case ever. My friends on my left, they're locked in, and they think a 50% increase in Alberta's minimum wage is a cure-all. Now, I expect the truth is somewhere in between. To the Premier, what specific evidence can you provide that shows a $15 minimum wage will not have unintended consequences?
Honourable member, is there a question you'd like to respond to?
Thank you. Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, member, for the question. This really is a critical issue. As I've said previously, there's a tremendous amount of evidence to show that when low-wage people have more money, it actually generates more economic activity. We also have seen the evidence in the States where we've
Honourable Premier, any time left? Yeah. 10 seconds, please.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, and then, of course, we've seen numerous anti-poverty reports that identify that a living wage in this province is, well, for instance, in Calgary,
Thank you, Alderman. Honourable Premier, thank you.
Well, I wouldn't. So we haven't heard a study, and I wouldn't count that as evidence. But what I would agree with the Premier is I also care about poverty reduction. I care about that very much and helping people who really need it. Minimum wage, however, is a blunt instrument, and having a minimum wage 40% higher than the rest of Canada is a risky social experiment that could backfire on this government and actually make the situation worse. To the Premier, will you commit to a comprehensive poverty reduction strategy that includes minimum wage, and if the evidence shows a $15 minimum wage hurts more than it helps, will you back down?
Honourable Premier.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We, of course, are very focused on poverty reduction, and of course, I've asked my Minister of Human Services to follow up on where that poverty reduction strategy is and to bring it forward with some real significant changes. Minimum wage being one of them. Minimum wage being one of the key recommendations of groups who have been working on the poverty reduction strategy for the last 2 and 3 years. So we know that is part of it. The other thing to remember is that 3 years from now, $15 an hour will not be 40% above the rest of the country.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, we know multinational corporations can spread the impact of minimum wage increases across hundreds of stores, but Alberta small businesses will face increased costs, causing them to lay off staff or, worse, go out of business entirely. Now, I want to point out to the Premier that Calgary Elbow and Edmonton Strathcona are home to an especially high number of excellent Alberta small businesses. To the Premier, if you are locked in on a $15 minimum wage, will you commit here and now to reduce small business tax to offset the problems you will create for your constituents and mine?
Well, you know, we will be putting together a job creation package that you will hear more about, Mr. Speaker, in the fall, because we know that is a very important issue, and so we'll be working together with business on that, and I look forward to that. But again, we do not want a province where the only business that survives are those that require people to be paid at 2/3 of a living wage. We cannot grow our economy on the backs of the poor.